What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, ironically, we had a separate video on Avengers 5 and Avengers 6 queued up for this morning, but we're going to move that one to a little bit later in the week. It's talking about some new industry insider updates, because super early this morning, and at 6:45 a.m., The Hollywood Reporter dropped a massive exclusive under the headline, How Marvel is Quietly Retooling Amid Superhero Fatigue, subtitled, The studio's golden box office aura has been dented, but chief architect Kevin Feige isn't scrapping his years-long cinematic universe plan, just refining it. They're not giving up, says industry insider, with a picture of Reed Richards, Kevin Feige, and Deadpool all working like mechanics on the Fantastic Car. We're going to go over everything that's in here, but more specifically what they said about the villain Kang and Jonathan Majors, what they said about Avengers 5 now confirmed to be changing titles and why, moving away from that villain, and what they said about Marvel Studios in reaction to what seems to be a declining box office, looking for those specific actors and characters like Captain America and Iron Man from the Infinity Saga that can carry the franchise and the cinematic universe into the future. We're breaking down this entire exclusive article from The Hollywood Reporter talking about Marvel Studios' new plans and the absolute bombshells they dropped about Avengers 5, Kang Dynasty, and major changes for the title and villain. But first, I want to tell you guys about Misplay. Now, if you guys are like me and you spend a ton of time mobile gaming, then I have to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Misplay, who allows you to earn gift cards while you play mobile games. Misplay is a loyalty app for mobile gamers, and its expansive library contains all types of games, so no matter what you're into, puzzle games, FPS, RPG, they've got it all. Meaning there's a good chance you're going to find a game there or 10 that you enjoy playing. And the way it works is super simple. The more time you spend playing games on Misplay, the more points you earn to redeem gift cards at some of your favorite stores. What stores? I'm glad you asked. Stores like Walmart, Xbox, PlayStation, even Amazon. It's super simple, guys. You download Misplay, you start playing games, and earn. And if you're already playing mobile games anyway, then there's absolutely no reason that you shouldn't be playing on Misplay and earning. To get started, simply click the link down in the description and make sure to use code EVERYTHING50 to get 50 free points right off the rip. Just follow the code down below, make sure to use code EVERYTHING50, download Misplay, and start earning today. Okay, so we're going to hit all the details for new projects, especially the Avengers in this article. And trust me, guys, there are a ton of details, but we're going to skip ahead just a little bit because the very first part of the article simply talks about what Marvel Studios just did as a major PR campaign push, releasing the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer, the X-Men 97 trailer, and the cast for the Fantastic Four all back to back to back. That's where this report picks up saying, quote, these public-facing moves come as studio boss Kevin Feige recalibrates the creative direction behind the scenes. Early in February, the company completed reshoots for Agatha Darkhold Diaries, the WandaVision spin-off starring Kathryn Hahn that is expected to hit Disney Plus this fall. The company usually budgets 5 days of reshoots into the schedule, but the studio completed the work in just one, feeling a sunny outlook around the show internally, according to sources associated with the series. Okay, so check one, they feel great about Agatha that's coming out later this year. And I will admit, it is great news that they only needed 1 day for reshoots. But I will also remind you that Marvel Studios has felt great, quote-unquote, before internally about certain films and TV shows, and then it's a totally different story when it gets in front of fans. Now on to the Fantastic Four, where they say this, quote, the studio quietly hired Eric Pearson to polish the script for the Fantastic Four, which will shoot this summer in London. Pearson is a company stalwart who worked on both Thor Ragnarok and Black Widow and has a reputation for taking projects over the finish line. The stakes for that movie are high, as the studio is still searching for characters and actors who can carry its universe forward after the exits of Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans. Now, obviously, my biggest takeaway here, and coming from the sources that informed this article to The Hollywood Reporter, is that Kevin Feige and co over at Marvel Studios are aware that they haven't filled those shoes yet, that where Chris Evans, Steve Rogers, and Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark were really the quarterbacks, or should I say the point of view characters, and for a lack of a better metaphor, the suns in which our Marvel Cinematic Universe solar system rotated around. They still haven't replaced that, and now, at least again, according to these sources that are talking to The Hollywood Reporter, there might be some hope internally from Kevin Feige that with the right script and story for the Fantastic Four, that hopefully Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby as Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic may be able to take up part of that mantle as we head into the Multiverse saga. Now, speaking of Avengers, this is the really interesting part of the article that talks about what they're doing now with Kang in the title. The Hollywood Reporter goes on to say this, quote, Marvel is also cleaning up the creative mess left in the wake of Jonathan Majors, the once rising actor cast to play the linchpin villain role in the the next Avengers movies, but who in December was found guilty of reckless assault in the third degree and harassment in a Manhattan court after a domestic incident with his ex-partner, a movement coach he met while working on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Marvel dropped Majors hours after the conviction and is rewriting those movies, which will now either minimize his character or excise him entirely. The first of the new Avengers movies, due out in 2026, was initially titled Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, but will be getting a new title to remove the character's name. The sources say that even before Major's conviction, the studio is making moves to minimize the character after Quantumania underperformed, grossing only $476 million. Okay, I've said it before and I'm going to say it again, there were some problems with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Jonathan Majors' Kang was not one of them. But unfortunately, and it seems now decisively here, not only is a recasting of Jonathan Majors getting rehired to play the role completely off the table, but Kang is completely off the table as well. They say it point blank in black and white that they are retooling this to either minimize his character or excise him completely, which means he's out of the title and maybe out of the film. That confirms that they are now steering into a completely different villain. So where industry insiders like Daniel RPK have talked about a recast, a different actor coming in to play that character, it seems like that would only be to be expensive cannon fodder at this point. And what I mean is they would bring Kang in for a scene or two only to have him served up and destroyed by the next villain up to prove how powerful that villain is, say something like the Beyonder or Doctor Doom. But still, this is decisive. It means that Kang is not going to be the big bad of the Multiverse saga, and of course that now makes a ton of way for one particular Doctor Doom. And considering all of these casting rumors that have been swirling around, well, my fingers are crossed they're finally just going to do it. Now, one of the insiders from Marvel actually talking to the Hollywood Reporter about all this, quote, tinkering that's going on behind the scenes had to say this, quote, that the focus is internal this year and that execs are not calling it a reboot and not even a soft one, but more of a, quote, creative retooling. It's no secret that since 2019 Avengers Endgame, the company was asked to scale up in an unprecedented way to feed its fledgling streaming service Disney+, then a top priority for Disney, which was in the thick of the streaming wars. Some of our studios lost a little focus, so the first step we've taken is to reduce the volume, Iger said on February 17th's earnings call. We've reduced the output, particularly at Marvel, in order to ensure the films you're making can be even better. And they finished by saying this, quoting one of the insiders, a source who has worked with Marvel over the last year. They're not going to give up. They want to make something great. Now look, if anybody has the roadmap and the IP to do it, it's Disney and Marvel Studios. Some of these Marvel characters, the ones that you guys listen to me talk about every day, are some of the most storied and beloved characters in all of American fiction and over the last half century. They own all the rights and they are still in the middle of trying to write the next two Avengers films. Nothing's been set in stone, so to speak. There's still time to change it and, quote, make something great. But they have got to get back to what made the Infinity Saga great, and the fact that this Hollywood Reporter article, when speaking to insiders from Marvel Studios, can so perfectly articulate what those problems are. Not having a Tony Stark Iron Man, not having a Steve Rogers Captain America, underperformance at the box office, diluting your brand through too many products, not keeping the quality of the writing up. There are so many things that they've called out during this article, but just being able to articulate your problems is totally different than being able to do something about it. My hope is that they're actually actively doing something about it, and I think, honestly, given everything we heard during this article, this is the best way forward. I think a recast for Jonathan Majors Kang was a terrible, terrible idea. They should have just kept Jonathan Majors or rehired him to play the role, or do something completely different anyway and bring in Doctor Doom, which, if you listen to the words in this article talking about either minimizing his role or excising him completely and changing the name to remove Kang, sort of makes it seem like they may have thought the same thing, and that's what they're doing now. But guys, let me know all your thoughts down below. I am all ears as always. If you agree with some of this stuff, if you disagree with other things, who should be the villain of the Multiverse saga? Is it just absolutely Doctor Doom? I am all ears as always. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. Alright, we are still giving away PlayStation 5s at the channel. The next one will coincide with X-Men 97, which is just about a month away on March 20th. If you want to be entered to win or for any of the other giveaways here at the channel, all the same rules will always apply. Hit the subscribe button because you need to be a subscriber, then leave a comment down below, and because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will always be announced live with my voice in the comments shown on screen, so please be safe and vigilant on every platform. And if you should get some spam comments on YouTube or any other platform, just make sure to report them. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on. And as always, if you liked today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name is Michael Roman. You can find me in a couple of places, Instagram and Twitter at I'mFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, under the name Allfires. And while I sincerely appreciate you checking out my music, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.